good for you. Come on. We'll think of another place. Come with me. Let's have a smoke break. Nah, it's just a normal break. It's smoke break. Smoke break. Smoke break.
30 seconds and counting.
There were plenty of years where there were guys who would dread being drafted by the Buffalo Bills. Not anymore.
Astronauts report it feels good. T-minus 25 seconds.
Brandon Beane realizes they're in a window of 2 to 3 years max to get this done while the iron's still hot. And getting Von Miller into that situation was big for the Bills.
10, 9.
Oh, baby.
Ignition sequence start. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Great interview, guys.
Oh, baby! What is up, Buffalo Fanatics? C-Bot here with you, live on the Buffalo Fanatics YouTube channel on a Victory Monday night. And that, of course, can only mean one thing. It is the Smoke Break powered by BetUS. That's right, folks. First Smoke Break of the season. First Victory Monday of the season. Buffalo Bills kick the year off 1-0 in Week 1 in Orchard Park. A thrilling come-from-behind victory against the Arizona Cardinals. 34-28. It was a tale of two halves. A game in the beginning where you said, wait a minute. Gonna be a long afternoon, gonna be a long season. Bills head to the locker room. They flip the script on a dime. The offense can't be stopped. The defense looks impenetrable. Bills score 24 offensive points in the second half, allow a field goal and a 2-point conversion defensively in the second half. That ultimately led to the 17-3 comeback that solidified the Buffalo Bills victory to go 1-0 to kick the year off as they get set to head to Miami to take on the Miami Dolphins in just 3 short days from now on Thursday Night Football. Good to have you in on the first episode of the Smoke Break here in the 2024 season. Quick one tonight because I know we got some homework to do this evening. In about 35 minutes from now, Aaron Rodgers and the New Jersey Jets take the field out in San Francisco against a Christian McCaffrey-less 49ers team. If you haven't heard, this just in about 15 minutes ago. No one saw this coming. I don't know what the hell happened. There wasn't a inkling of this all day long. I didn't hear anything all week. I didn't hear anything all day. I didn't hear anything up until an hour ago in terms of even a risk of Christian McCaffrey not playing in this game, much less being ruled out. But that's the case tonight. First Monday Night Football game of the year. First game back from Aaron Rodgers since he went down 4 snaps in against the Bills a year ago, I guess today, in the same exact setting. Christian McCaffrey not available. Bar none, Christian McCaffrey is the San Francisco 49ers' best player. You take him off the 49ers, they are a completely different football team. And it seems like when Brock Purdy does not have every single one of those assets at his disposal. We saw this in the playoffs last year when Deebo Samuel went out. They almost lost the football game. Feels like Brock Purdy's so used to the cast of amazing characters that San Francisco has around him. When one of those pieces is gone, it throws everything off. Kyle Shanahan, one of the best coaches in the league, certainly one of the best offensive coaches in recent memory here. It seems like he is a guy who is very loyal to his game plan. I wonder if he was aware all week long that McCaffrey would not be a part of this game, and he game planned accordingly. But this is a huge blow for the San Francisco 49ers. It's a huge blow for us Bills fans, because if the prophecy is going to be foretold the way we've been told it's going to go this season, right? The Jets should go 13-4. They should be playing in February. In order for that to go the opposite direction of where, everyone else thinks it's going, in order for it to go in the direction that we think it's going in, I would love nothing more than for tonight, the reigning NFC champions, to beat the ever-living shit out of the New York Jets. It's going to be a lot harder to do that without Christian McCaffrey. We'll head over to BetUS right now, where you can take a look at what the spread is currently for that game. And it's changed a bit ever since Christian McCaffrey's been ruled out. The New York Jets at one point were a 4.5-point underdog in this game. The line has now moved to 3.5. San Francisco at home, a 3.5-point favorite. Just goes to show you the respect the Jets are getting going into the year. It's the same thing that happened last season. We're basically watching a repeat episode, almost to a T. It's like Groundhog Day. Everything about these Jets feels the exact same as it did going into last year. I'd even argue the hype might be a little higher this year. You're playing probably the best roster in the league, certainly a top 3-4 roster in the league. Arguably the best team in the NFL. Certainly, I think the best team in the NFC until proven otherwise. But there it is. San Francisco 49ers currently a 3.5-point favorite right now on BetUS. If you want to get in on it for the game tonight, which, by the way, I'm going to get a little taste on that because I'm rooting. I mean, you know where I'm at tonight. I'm excited for this one. I cannot wait to see Aaron Rodgers out on that field. We finally get to see what this looks like. All we've been told is what it's supposed to look like. We have no idea what it's going to look like. We haven't been given an opportunity. We got 4 snaps, and we saw the end of Aaron Rodgers in New York until today. So you know where I stand now, and I'll put my money where my mouth is. $50 right now I'll do on the 49ers minus 3.5. If you want to get in on that action, go over to BetUS right now. 150% sign-up bonus up to $2,000 on your first 3 deposits. Just use the promo code YouTube150. So really excited for that one. That's going to be kicking off in about 30 minutes from now. We'll be wanting to tune into that because the Buffalo Bills, as we've been told, like I keep saying, they're supposed to be going neck and neck against these New York Jets throughout the rest of the year for the NFC or the AFC East title, and they'll be playing those Jets in a couple of short weeks on Monday Night Football as well in New York. But before we can fast forward to that game, we got to fast forward to the game that's going to be played this coming Thursday within the AFC East, and that, of course, is against our best buddies out in Miami, our favorite, those Miami Dolphins. Those Miami Dolphins, they escaped with a victory. You could argue the Bills escaped with a victory this past weekend. There's part of that game that feels like the Bills did escape more than they won. Let me know in the comments how you guys feel. Of course, we recapped the game for a couple of hours right after the game concluded yesterday, Rico and I. And what I love about doing the post game, and by the way, we didn't really formally say anything yesterday, but that's the plan this year. It's going to be awesome. So we're switching things up a bit on BF here. Rico and I are going to be doing the pregame and the postgame together this year. So the smoke break, it's going to be interesting because usually you get my raw reaction 24 hours after. You're going to be getting the raw reaction like 24 minutes after this year. We're going to be using the smoke break this season as more of a retrospective. We're going to give ourselves time to de-escalate or re-escalate, depending on how the game goes, and then look back on it. So let me know in the comments right now how you feel about 24 hours removed. That game was weirder than it felt. Because you could argue the Bills didn't look great. You could argue, man, the Bills really did look great. You could argue, man, Arizona looks like they could be something this year. Kyler Murray looks like he could be something this year. You could argue, man, one catch from Marvin Harrison Jr., Kyler Murray, 160-some yards, unable to score more than 3 points in the second half. It was a very topsy-turvy game. And I think that's why it wound up coming down to the wire. But at the end of the day, week 1, as we know, it is a crapshoot. As these weeks go on, you know the identity of these football teams, right? You get into, that's why I've said all offseason, I think we will know exactly who these Buffalo Bills are heading into October 20th against the Tennessee Titans, because at that point they'll have played 5 playoff teams plus the Arizona Cardinals here. But we have no idea what Arizona's going to be. For all we know, we could look back at that victory yesterday, 5-6 weeks from now, and we can say, hey, that win was even better than we thought. Arizona's 4-2. Kyler Murray puts together 5 straight games of what he put together this past game in the first half. Marvin Harrison Jr. starts looking like he's supposed to be, right? That's the weird thing. We could look back at this and it could look even better. We could look back at it. Cardinals could go 1-5, and we could be like, man, 6-point victory against a team that's only got 1 victory all the way up through the quarter season mark here. It's just odd. You have no idea how good these teams are going to be. You have no idea how bad these teams are going to be. That's why it's just important to get out of there with a victory. So when I look at it 24 hours removed, to me, I guess the biggest takeaway would be I'm just satisfied with the Bills' ability to have done what they did in the second half and get out of there with a W. You don't think Cincinnati Bengals fans are sitting around today thinking the same thing, except with a loss? You don't think Cincinnati thought going into yesterday, as we did, Bills fans going into the Cardinals game, this is a W. This is the perfect opportunity to start our season off on the right foot. And we know that in a loaded AFC, games like this can't afford to be lost, or else the seeding is going to be dramatically affected because of it. Cincinnati Bengals yesterday scored 10 points against the New England Patriots, who are projected to be a bottom 5 team. Some might argue the worst team, although after watching around the league yesterday, what the New York Giants put on display, what the Carolina Panthers put on display, I got a feeling that New England's not nearly going to be as bad as maybe we thought they were. They'll still be a bottom-end team. But Cardinals aren't winning that game, Panthers aren't winning that game yesterday against the Bengals. And the Giants certainly aren't winning that game yesterday against the Bengals. So you have to give credit where credit's due. And of course, we love it. We'd much rather have the New England Patriots win that game than Cincinnati. But my point is, the Bills could have easily lost that game yesterday. Easily. The way things were going in the first half, I was almost sure they were going to. What about that game in the first half gave you any confidence that the Buffalo Bills were going to get out of there with a victory, much less wind up doing what they did? They scored 34 points yesterday. Josh Allen, to me, MVP of the weekend for the most part. You can make some arguments elsewhere, of course. Baker Mayfield, an incredible weekend. Saquon Barkley, unreal weekend. Joe Mixon, incredible weekend. But nobody was more important, nobody was more valuable to their team than Josh Allen was in that game. And what else is new? What else is new? And at the end of the day, they did what they had to do to get the victory. The New England Patriots scored 16 points against Cincinnati. And they couldn't find a way to win. 10 points at home against a team starting a journeyman backup quarterback with a bunch of new faces. I mean, I implore you to tell me five guys on the Patriots roster right now. And that's who the Bengals start their season with and lose to. And all you're told all off season long, right, is that the Bengals, not only are they better than the Bills, but they are far more deserving of being in the Super Bowl conversation, the AFC conversation, as far as threatening Mahomes. And above anything else, you constantly hear about how Joe Burrow is more poised this season, any season, to be the second best quarterback in the league. He's better than Josh Allen. He's not overrated, right? Because he did get to a Super Bowl, whatever. The overall point is, week 1 can go anywhere. Bengals fans are sitting here today sick to their damn stomach. I can promise you that. We're not. We could have easily have been. So I'm fine with it. But it was a weird game nonetheless. I think the biggest takeaway, though, today, when you're looking back on it 24 hours removed, it's that with a short week, what the hell is going to happen going into Miami with the injury to Josh Allen's hand? I was on the record yesterday saying that I had felt that this injury was worse than met the eye. I mean, I'll be honest. Josh Allen, not human, mutant, freak. When I see that guy wincing in pain, that to me feels like it would be the equivalent of me like thriving in pain. You know what I mean? If I see Josh Allen wincing, I would imagine that same pain would probably have me in the fetal position on the sideline. And when I saw him on the sideline getting that thing taped up and he was catching balls, he was trying to simulate snaps, and you could tell he was wincing in pain, referencing the left hand, then requiring a retape of that left hand, I wasn't feeling great. Now he does go back out in the game. He seals the game for the Bills. They wind up going down and getting that field goal that wound up being the difference, getting the W. But afterwards, he's asked about it, and I just felt like there was some sort of like, I'm not telling you everything I know here. It just felt like it was worse than it seemed. So, truth be told, I personally thought there was a significant chance, based on the fact that this game is 3 days away on the road, that we could have gotten some real shit news. Now, I'm not talking about shit news in the fact that Josh Allen out multiple weeks. But I wouldn't have been stunned if we saw the notification come up this afternoon saying Josh Allen ruled out for Thursday night's game against the Dolphins. No chance. Once again, it makes you understand the valuability of this guy to the Buffalo Bills, to the league. I don't think Josh Allen, and I this was the part of the situation that had me not fully panicking about the situation. It's because the guy, it just feels like he could have his arm get caught in a food processor, and as long as he was able to get the ligaments re-sewn together and usable for the next game, he's going to be in there. I mean, it feels like he could get hit by a freight train. So long as he's able to stand up, he's going to be in the game. That's exactly what's going to wind up happening here. Sean McDermott comes out today. It was the best news of the day. Obviously, you're enjoying your victory Monday. You got the victory behind you in the rear view as you move on to the Miami Dolphins. And you know that Miami's going to be giving you their best crack every single time until they finally can prove that they can beat these Bills with Tua. The Bills are the Miami Dolphins, Kansas City Chiefs. That's the reality of the situation. You know how we feel every time we play the Chiefs, and it's a good game. It's hard fought. You feel like you did enough to win, and you just don't. It's like that with the Dolphins against the Bills, but with way more games. Obviously, the stakes weren't, well, they have been high. I mean, the Bills essentially beat the Dolphins last year in a playoff game in Week 18 to win the East. They did beat them in a playoff game 2 seasons ago. I know it was without Tua, but the stakes have been high. But the stakes in general are high because it really has come down to those 2 teams in the East ever since Tom Brady retired. That team wants the Bills more than anybody else. They want to beat the Bills as bad as us Bills fans want to beat the Chiefs. And they just haven't been able to do it. Josh Allen has owned that team. If you go into Thursday night without Josh Allen, it's a whole different ballgame. The fact that he's healthy and ready to go is extraordinarily, it's just, you want to talk about beyond a sigh of relief. So Sean McDermott comes out this afternoon, said that after, further review of the hand, Josh Allen ready to go, ready to rock. He'll be practicing. He'll be ready to go on Thursday. So that was the best news of the day. I can't lie. The victory a little bit, maybe I was overreacting. I don't know. It just felt a bit worse than what I think we were being led to believe. Didn't feel like anybody was talking about it when you turned on ESPN or whatever for the highlights. It just felt like it was kind of an afterthought. No one was really emphasizing the fact that Allen basically had a boxing glove on his hand towards the end of that game. The way he was talking about it, the way he was wincing, I don't know. I was just holding my breath. Huge exhale this afternoon. Sean McDermott comes out and lets the world know, lets the Miami Dolphins know, Josh Allen and the boys will be ready to rock. They will be coming to town Thursday night. I absolutely cannot wait for that game. Drew's coming in. He's saying, what about Taron Johnson? Well, unfortunately, that was the opposite end of the good news we got from Josh Allen. Double-edged sword today because the great news in Josh Allen being healthy for that game came with the unfortunate news that Taron Johnson will not be available for that game. Not only will he not be available for that game, but Sean McDermott said he doesn't know the extent of the injury or the timetable. Now, Thigh Doc, we had talked yesterday, Rico and I's post-game show. Last night I checked, Thigh Doc was under the impression that could be at least a 2-week injury. We had a feeling, especially since he didn't return yesterday, we had a feeling that at the bare minimum he was going to be missing Thursday. That is locked in. Taron Johnson will not be playing this Thursday night against the Dolphins. I have nothing to speculate on, nor do I ever speculate on injuries. All I do know, however, is I have to think it is somewhat beneficial that the Bills are playing on Thursday and then do not play again until the following week's Monday. So if you talk about the timetable between injury to the next game that he could potentially be available for, you're talking 15 days. So if it is a 2-week injury, maybe there's potential for Taron Johnson to be available for the Jacksonville Jaguars game at home on Monday Night Football in week 3. I have no idea, though. Sean McDermott really didn't seem to know anything. So I have no idea what the extent of that injury is. It doesn't feel like anybody does. And no one knows how long he's going to be sidelined for. I mean, you obviously hope to have him back sooner than later. Out of all these games, to be honest, coming up here that you'd want to have him the most, this would be the game, because Miami's wide receiver core is better than Jacksonville's. It's significantly better than Baltimore's. If I'm looking ahead here, I just really hope he's available for the Texans game. I mean, the Texans are loaded. Texans are loaded offensively. Not to say that the Jacksonville Jaguars don't have a stout offense that at any given time can click. I know yesterday it didn't seem that way. We know how good Baltimore's offense can be. But Houston's got the weapons, and they got Stroud, who's able to get the ball to those weapons. That's when you're going to want Taron Johnson back the most out of these upcoming games outside of Miami. The silver lining, though, is that Taron Johnson went out early in that game yesterday, and once again, the Cardinals did absolutely nothing after the first half, and that was without Taron Johnson. Cam Lewis came in and played terrific yesterday. Played terrific. Once again, it's back to that age-old narrative that I've been beaten to death forever under McDermott, and I'll keep doing it until I'm proven otherwise. The next man up mentality in Buffalo on the defensive end of things is beyond impressive. Beyond. Every time someone gets thrusted up to the front of the line, having to step up for this team, it just feels like they end up doing it. Now, of course, you can't do that all the way to the end of the line like they did last year going into the divisional round, and you got A.J. Klein coming off the couch. You can't do it forever. But the core of this Bills team, up until a certain extent, the depth, it is something to marvel at. Yesterday, Taron Johnson goes down early in that game, and once again, I said this yesterday, and I always like to preface myself because, you don't want it to be skewed another way. The Bills are a worse defense without Taron Johnson. Don't get it twisted. But yesterday, when Taron Johnson went out, they played their best defense of the day. So the point is not that they're better with Taron Johnson out, obviously. The point is that they can survive without Taron Johnson. They can survive without Matt Milano. You don't want them to. God, you don't want them to. But we're used to it, aren't we? I mean, we're too used to it. It sucks. And Taron Johnson, to me, was probably the last guy you wanted to go out on this defense. When you already factor in that you have DeMar Hamlin out there starting, Taylor Rapp, you're confident in, but I think you look at the back end of things here, and it's a lot of new veteran leadership and presence gone. You were really relying on Taron Johnson this season, one of the best in the game, in the nickel formation. So you just hope for a speedy recovery at this point. That's all you can hope for. And that's what it should be. Now, what that speed looks like, we don't know, but it's certainly not a season-ending type injury. And the way that it's being laid out, it doesn't seem like it's going to be a month or something like that. I would imagine once we get past this Dolphins game, we'll start to hear either what I would guess we'll start to hear whether it'll be Jacksonville, but that could be a bit too soon. And then we move on to Baltimore or Houston. But I mean, I would be stunned
if we don't see him back by week 5 against the Texans. But that's just the unfortunate reality of the short week, especially this early in the year, especially when it's on the road. And then the biggest bummer of it all is I think, it sucks to lose anybody for any game, but when you're losing a guy like Taron Johnson in a game where you have to go against Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, Achan, who had, I think, 80 yards receiving out of the backfield yesterday. Bummer. But as I stated, Cam Lewis did a terrific job. And that was right off the bench, thrusted in without any warm-ups, without any ability to get acclimated. He's going to have a couple of days here to get even more prepared than he was, of course, going in yesterday against the Cardinals. So we'll see. He's no Taron Johnson, but survive in advance. You know where I'm at this year. I don't give a shit. Win the ball game. I don't care if it looks bad for 30 minutes, kind of like it did yesterday. I don't care if it looks bad for 55 minutes, like it did last year against the Chargers, where you're playing Easton Stick. What the hell are you guys doing? How the hell is this game within a point, much less, how is the margin of difference between these two teams here not 25 points right now? You win the game. That's all you're looking for. All these Bills need to do is get to the dance. That's all that matters anymore with Josh Allen. Nobody cares. There's one seat available. And super hard to get. Obviously, that's what you want. We would love it. We haven't had that once with Josh Allen. Because, of course, as soon as it's just like anything else, right? Just like anything else. As soon as the Bills get good, one, the new dynasty is here in the Chiefs. And two, they eliminate the first round bye for the second overall seed. I think that does not get talked about enough. I think the Bills, I'd have to go back and double check because I forget my memory when it comes to the exact seeding and shit like that. It always leaves me. But I think in Josh Allen's time in Buffalo here, they would have had a bye at least 2-3 times, right? So I've always found that funny. No one really talks about that anymore. It's just kind of, you just get used to it. The Bills would have had multiple byes if they had this exact same team 10 years ago. So to me, it's like, who the hell cares? Just win the damn ball game. And all they've done against the Miami Dolphins, literally every single time they play them, is win the ball game. Last year, the Bills in week 18, offensively, they couldn't do anything against the Dolphins. You blink, punt return. Oh my God, AFC East champions. You think I have a piece of sandpaper stuck in my throat right now? God. You know where I'm at with the Dolphins. I'll believe it when I see it. And they did not look good yesterday. I still can't for the life of me understand how the Dolphins not only won that. I don't get, I got to go back and almost watch that full game. I got to go back and rewatch that full game between the Dolphins and the Jags on Sunday. Because if you look at the box score, it makes no sense at all. Tyreek Hill, 130 yards and a touchdown. Jalen Waddle, 100 yards. Devon Achane, 100 yards, all purpose. I think Tua had, he was approaching 400 yards. It took a 52-yard field goal in regulation to win the ball game. I don't know what the hell happened. That's also not including the fact that Travis Etienne fumbled that game away for the Jags. They should have won the football game. Jacksonville. It was 17-7. Like, I don't know, 7 minutes left in the third quarter. Etienne's running into the end zone to make it 24-7, and he fumbles it out of the back of the end zone. The rest is history. I think the following drive, Tyreek Hill had an 80-yard touchdown. We know what Miami is. Nobody knows who Miami is more than us. Now, they're certainly capable of beating Buffalo. I mean, they should be capable of beating Buffalo. Got the best wide receiver core probably in the league. They should be capable. They haven't been, though. I'll believe it when I see it. But going into Thursday, you are at a slight disadvantage without Taron Johnson compared to where you would be with him. But you would be at a massive disadvantage if you did not have Josh Allen. Thank God the Bills do have Josh Allen on Thursday. We'll dive into that game, of course, much more later on in the week. You know that this is my favorite game of the year for the most part. These are my two favorite games of the year. You know what my thoughts on Miami. I mean, it's a disdain like no other. My feelings on the Miami Dolphins. I mean, I can't think of anything quite comparable to my overall thoughts on the Miami Dolphins. I mean, it's just it borders on there's probably something wrong with me. How bad I just love beating up on the Dolphins. I'm getting a similar feeling tonight, though. I don't know how about you guys. We're about like 10 minutes away from kick here. Jets, Niners. I don't know about how you guys feel. I'm getting like a weird feeling of like that right now about the Jets. Like I'm going nuts for the Niners tonight. I want the Jets to come out this year and just get clapped. It's weird. As much as I love seeing the Dolphins shit down their leg, especially, I mean, the way that they did it last year was a masterclass. I mean, that was Oscar-worthy cinema. The way you couldn't, from a Bills fan perspective, you could not have written a better story for the Miami Dolphins pissing away a division title. It was incredible. And think about how much that cost Miami. Because losing that game to the Bills at the end, losing the 3-game lead on the division, that forced them to have to go to Kansas City with, what was it, minus 10-degree wind chill, where Tua, I think, is 0-400 in his career, with a stat line that looks like me in Pop Warner football. Think about how much that changed the dichotomy of their season. They were essentially exiled to hell. That team being forced to go and play Kansas City in that environment, that is the equivalent of just, I don't even know the best way to put it. It is the equivalent of just being given a forced loss. It's almost like doing a simulation in Madden where the outcome's already determined. You have to get through the game in order to move on to the next week. Everybody in their mother knew the Chiefs were winning that game going away. And that's exactly what happened. It could have been a whole different story. If the Chiefs would have, if the Dolphins would have won the division, maybe they could have finally have won a playoff game for the first time this turn of the century. So I don't know. We're gonna dive into it a whole lot more later on this week, but the Jets, on the other hand, this is the beginning tonight of what last year was supposed to be for the Jets. It's the beginning of this reign that everyone's anticipating they're supposed to have, and getting off to a start against the Niners. I mean, this is a great litmus test, I think, as to how we are going to come to know these Jets throughout the year. I'll tell you this. I mean, I know Christian McCaffrey's out, so that's going to change my tune on this a little bit. But I will gain some respect for the Jets if tonight they play super hard, well, win the game, or it's close. Right? I'll gain some respect. But I'm rooting heavily for the Niners tonight. I'm like Bills level rooting for the Niners tonight, just because I think that there's no better way to kill these narratives that are being thrown out there for no reason, unlike actual football that allows you to kill them. And that's what I wanted to end with. That's kind of where I was going with this. That's where I wanted to end tonight. I don't know if you guys are noticing, but if you've turned on TV at all today or the radio, it's all the same thing. Every channel. I've gone on multiple channels, right? Multiple radio shows, multiple television shows. And this is the same thing I hear every single time. Josh Allen's as good as it gets, right? That's what I hear. Josh Allen is as good as it gets. And all of a sudden, by the way, have you noticed? And of course you probably have, because actual football is being played now. And you can actually use your eyes, which I know people hate to do. You can actually use critical thinking, which I know there's a very, significant lack of these days. But Joe Burrow loses to the Patriots yesterday. Josh Allen probably the AFC player of the week potentially. And now it's just, how many times have you heard Josh Allen? Oh, he's the second best quarterback in the league. Nobody can do what he does. It's been the Josh Allen highlight reel since that game ended. Josh Allen, Josh Allen, Josh Allen. I just find it funny, by the way, just as a side note, I find it funny, by the way, I have not heard the Bengals today get shit on nearly as much as they should be. They lost week 1 at home to the New England Patriots. Scored 10 points. 10. They're getting off easy, in my opinion. That's just how I see it. But I find it funny how today you're not hearing anything about Joe Burrow. You're barely hearing much about Lamar Jackson because he missed a wide open guy at the end of that game Thursday night. They wound up getting out of there with a loss. I just find it's just always so funny to me. But anyway, what do you hear every time about these games? When Josh Allen plays like he did yesterday, when he essentially wins the football game for the Bills on his back, which he did, what's the one thing you hear? Yeah, Josh Allen is great, MVP caliber, probably the second best quarterback in the league, one of the best athletes I've ever seen play the position. Just not a sustainable way to win. You know, the way the Bills are operating under Josh Allen, he's got to put the cape on. He's got to be Superman, and it's just not a sustainable way to win in this league. Define sustainability. Because it's been how this team's been winning football games for going on a half a decade here, maybe longer. They have got to come up with a new narrative, and every time one of these guys says it, they act like they're the one coming up with it, like it's some genius revelation. I got to tell you guys, I just don't think this is sustainable. And we're supposed to look at you like, oh, it's a great point you're making. Man, your takeaway from Josh Allen having like 130 passer rating, 230 yards on 23 attempts, not to mention 2 touchdowns on the ground, 39 yards on the ground, jumping over guys. I mean, literally just playing the game like a bat out of hell. It's just not sustainable. How is it not sustainable when they've sustained that style of winning for the past 5 years? Like Kevin's saying, this is no argument. Yeah, the guy does need help. Do I wish there was more around Josh Allen than there currently is? I certainly do. But they're operating in a fashion that I think is going to allow over time Josh Allen to have his role mitigated in a way that does not have the Bills reliant on him doing what he had to do yesterday. And that's, of course, running the ball a ton, getting James Cook involved, getting these tight ends involved. A lot of that didn't happen yesterday. It's going to take some more time to get all that involved. But they tried yesterday. They ran the ball 60% of their snaps. They tried. Wasn't a great day running the ball. They fell behind early. The defense was a sieve early on. They had to resort to Josh Allen doing Josh Allen things. I just find it so ironic that every time this guy plays unearthly like football, it's like, yeah, give credit where credit's due, but then immediately switch gears to talking about how it's not sustainable. He has been winning this in this style year after year after year. This is why I always pound the table when the bullshit comes out about him not being the second best quarterback in the league, about him being overrated, about him being this guy that just seems to be so easily disrespected. Because the reason you're even saying it's not sustainable is because the things that he's doing are so unearthly that you can't imagine that he continues to do it, but he has been doing it for years. For years. And I just found it funny today because it's all I seem to hear today. It's just not sustainable. I don't know. I mean, yeah, Josh Allen made some incredible plays yesterday. I just feel like people look at what Allen did yesterday, and the big takeaway was, of course, the leaping touchdown, the flying touchdown. I think people look at that and they're like, oh, you can't do that every week. No, I agree. I don't want Josh Allen doing that every week. But do I think that Josh Allen can throw the ball 23 times a game, run the ball 9 times a game? Do I think that's sustainable? I kind of do, to be honest. I don't know what's so unsustainable about that. Yeah, he needs better defensive play. He needs better help defensively, for sure. They need to be able to run the ball a bit better than they did yesterday. The offensive line has got to be better than it was yesterday, and they will be. The same offensive line for the most part as last year outside of Mitch Morse, and they were phenomenal last year. So I'm not all that worried about it. I think that it's more sustainable than you think. Just because Josh Allen leaps over a guy and you're immediately thinking, oh, they can't do that every snap. I agree with you. But the way that they played yesterday, to me, I don't know what more you really want. A 60-40 split in terms of running the ball to throwing the ball. James Cook had 19 carries in that game. They had 9 guys catch a ball. I thought, to the core, the game plan was the right one. The defense early on mixed in with that fumble that hurt them and terrible penalties put them in a position where Josh Allen had to put the cape on. But I thought overall that game yesterday, for the most part, the approach was exactly what you're going to see throughout the year. And I think it's exactly what you want to see. It's what we saw last year. And they won every single game outside of that overtime loss to the Eagles and, of course, the divisional game. They've been phenomenal under Joe Brady. I expect the same throughout this season. And I'm looking down here. Like I said, it was going to be a quick one tonight because we did have kickoff in San Francisco. And look at that. Look at it, baby. Aaron Rodgers immediately off the field. We are a minute and a half into the Aaron Rodgers experience in 2024, and it's a complete underthrow. Nope, not even. Sorry, I apologize. I'll give Rodgers credit. It was just a flat-out drop. Flat-out drop. Jets. I love these games, by the way, on the West Coast on Monday nights where it looks like it's the sun's beaming right now. So we are a minute 20 into the Aaron Rodgers experience for the New York Jets in 2024. The Jets got the ball to start the game. And unless I missed something, which I must have missed at least a little something because I just put it on. But I'm imagining that's a 3-and-out. Love it. And now Brock Purdy takes the field. So we'll part ways here. I want you guys, as will I, go. Turn the TV on. Get your notepad out. Homework. Watching the New York Jets. Going to be a weekly appointment this year. Tuning in because, hey, guys, this is supposed to be the cream of the crop here. The New York Jets are supposed to be the leaders in the clubhouse for the AFC East. So let's pay close attention. Let's take a look at what we're supposed to be terrified of. Let's take a look at what we're supposed to be looking up at. That's what we're being told. On your way out, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button if you would. Also, a quick reminder, by the way, our partners over at Autograph, make sure to download that app as we go into the week here for the Dolphins game, especially with all this news coming out, during the season here. You want to be updated ASAP. That's what you're going to get with Autograph. The app is absolutely awesome. And in moments like today, when you're waiting to hear about the Allen injury, the Taron Johnson injury, the app's got you covered. It's got all of your top articles, your top tweets, top podcasts, top YouTube shows. You can watch us right on there. You can listen to us via podcast form right on there. And the best part about it is that you get rewards while you do it. And you can use those rewards right on the Autograph app to earn free tickets, free jerseys, a bunch of cool stuff. The app's the best. Links in the description below. It's on the App Store, Google Play. You just click the link, download it, totally free, and you're ready to rock, set up, and it's got everything you need for the season in terms of Buffalo Bills content. Also, 150% sign-up bonus on BetUS up to $2,000 on your first 3 deposits. Just use the promo code YouTube150. So quick one tonight. We'll be back with you throughout this week because it is a short. Now the Niners go 3-and-out. By the way, maybe a dogfight tonight, defensive dogfight. I mean, that's what you would expect. I have respect for the New York Jets defense. Nobody defends Josh Allen better than the New York Jets defense. It's this offense that I just can't wait to see. But anyway, we'll have a lot more coming your way throughout the week here. Rico with you tomorrow, and then we'll have you covered, of course, on Thursday for the game as well. A lot more to cover. It's my favorite game of the year. We get it twice, minimum. Bills, Dolphins. So a lot more coming your way this week. Looking forward to talking about it. Looking forward to cracking into that one because those are looking to go 2-0 against their favorite little brother in the AFCs. So can't wait. Quick one tonight. Really appreciate you tuning in. We'll talk to you later in the week as we get ready to take on the Miami Dolphins on Thursday Night Football with a cleared Josh Allen. Sigh of relief. Can't wait. All right. Go enjoy the Aaron Rodgers experience with the New York Jets. I'll talk to you later in the week. Much love as always, everybody.
It's good for you.
And go Bills.